Hello everyone. Today we are going to look into the concepts of ggplot. Okay, so and say like how to do a chart using ggplots. Okay, so let's start by creating an R notebook in Kaggle. This is in Kaggle environment. Okay, and we don't need to do any advanced settings. Okay, so let's create a notebook. Okay, so I'm not going to use any external data sets. Actually, R itself has an once you have R installed in your machine, it has preloaded with few data sets in it. Okay, so the data sets that we are going to use for the today's session is MT cars. Okay, so that's the that's the data set we are going to use. Okay, so we are going to use the inbuilt data sets within R. Okay, so I'm going to just name this as ggplot. ggplot. Okay, so lali lali lali. So we can also try by doing the same thing with different attributes, say like displacement. So you can see it's by displacement, it's engine displacement. Okay, so there are several ways to color it. And if you want to, there are other parameters like you can use size as one of the parameters. Say like you mentioned the size, so the size vary by the displacement. Okay, okay. So this is different parameters. You can use colors, size. Okay, so to differentiate it with the, I'm just saving the version so that I won't lose the changes. Okay, the next is let it complete. So I'll just pause. So it has created a version, so we'll just close it. So the next is like we know the size, color. We can also give shape. Okay, shape is another thing. It's by different. Again, I'm going to use factor. This one will be cylinder. Okay, cylinder attribute. Okay, maybe I would have missed the bracket. Okay, so you can see it is diamond and circle and squares. Okay, So actually I have a reusable method to set the height and width for this images. So let me put that, and also I'll put a theme so that it makes our job easier to have a clear visual of it. Okay. So to do some task and also setting a theme, actually I just got it from a different place. So for that you have to install this GG Themes package, okay, and you can use it. Then you can use it. Actually, I'll show the change that I did. So this is set figure size. So I just want to set a figure size, and this theme view is from the GG Themes package. And actually, I'm customizing few of this from it. Okay, say like axis text, axis title, title, legend position, legend, and theme customize. Okay, so this is I'm setting it to the visualization. When you say set, it will set it to the visualization. Okay, so I ran it. Now we will see like how it looks for the. So the last plot which we did is like to shape the site. Let's try to do this again and how it looks, we'll see. And I want to set the image size, set figure size. Okay. So the first one is like width and height, height and width. So width and height, so it will be like 15 comma 5. Okay. So I don't want this 15, I will make it as 10. So I have just kept the legend in top, so you can see 4, 5, 6 in different shapes. So circle, square, and diamonds. Okay. Then if it is in R, if this one is in R editor, then it would be clear. But this is with the different shapes. Okay. But to we know that it is shapes. But if we color, I think we can see the difference. Yes, right. Include color. Let's see. Or maybe I would have missed something. Color. I just closed. Okay, let's close the aesthetics. Let me run this. Now we can see it is in different colors. The circle is in red, and diamond is in green, and square is in blue. Okay. There is a concept called facet grid. So I'll just put it. So facet means you can differentiate each of the plots by a specific factor, or you can just split the charts for each of these factors. Okay. So right now what I'm going to do is I'll just pick this up, the same whatever the scatter plot between this miles per gallon and the horsepower. Okay. So in this you'll just keep this, maybe I'll just keep this as it is. Okay. Then what I will do is I'll just, means as I told you, it's chain of functions. So I'm going to call this facet grid. And facet grid expresses kind of an expression, okay, against what I want to color it. So against all, I want to color it with the cylinder. Okay, you can see. So by each of the factors, it is the cylinder, we just let 4, 6, and 8. Okay. So that's how you build the facet. But here actually I removed the grid, right? So means inside the plot I removed the grid. But previous plots had a grid inside. With this theme actually I just removed it. And if you want to change the direction of this, okay, so I just split it in this direction. If you want it, you can just split it by CYL against all. So you can see as each of this cylinders is in horizontal, right? So it means right now this is just one factor which we included in this grid. So I'm going to introduce a new one to see how it will be. So you can see it is against gear and cylinder. Okay, 3, 4, 5 gears and cylinder, and because we have just given the colors, right, so that's why it is having this legend. Let's remove this and see. Maybe for the shape it might need a legends. So for the legend, so I'm going to remove the shape as well. So let's, so you can see from this it's clear, like cylinder to gear, and with respect to miles per gallon and horsepower, this facet grid. So far we just seen like some of the initial idea of how this ggplot works. Okay, so let's go into the other geom layers that you add to this. Okay, we will plot one variable using this histogram, density plots, and bar charts, and two variables using scatter plots and line. Okay, so let's this one variable means, so you can see like so I'm going to do a, let's plot, just want to plot only miles per gallon. So let me plot as density. Let's see. So it shows what kind of a distribution it is. And we can also use histogram. And this actually showing warnings because it is expecting the number of bins. So I'm just going to specify 5. So it's more or less matching the density. Okay, that's what it is. So for single variable, how we do it. So there is another plot actually. We also have something called dot plot. Okay, so let's plot for miles per hour. So you can see here also you can specify bins, but that is, since we have very few number of records, it's easier to see the dots around in this plot. Okay, but if it is for huge data sets, I won't suggest this using this dot plot, but here it is clearly evident like how it is spread the data points are with respect to miles per gallon. Okay, I think we can do this same kind of graph. We can do the facet grid with respect to cylinder. Let's see how it is. So the distribution of this miles per gallon by cylinder. Okay, we can do the same with density as well. Okay, So for example, I'm just going to do the same with miles per gallon. Okay. Say let's say I'm just group this by cylinder and color this by cylinder. Maybe actually I have to just use instead of, see you can distribute, you can see this distribution is varying by cylinders. Okay, I just mentioned the bins, but actually it is ignoring the bins because it is grouped by different cylinders, right? So I can see this. Instead of color, you can use fill and see. So it is just filling it with. So just use color so that I will make use of this notebook. Okay, this is how it will looks if you just use it and group it by different bins. Let's go to the two variables. Okay, this is just a single variable we did this. Okay, so let me put a markdown in this like a single variable, and so you do this. So if you go for two variables, so the difference is in the aesthetics, you see, you have just used only single variable. Okay. So, but when it comes to two variables, it's like doing a comparison between two variables with x and y. Okay. You have to pass x and y into this. So, we already did this. Okay. Say like, I'm just moving this. So, the miles per gallon, say like this placement. The chart is, so this is how you do it for two variables. Okay. So another type of chart is using the geo line. So you can see it is. But usually when you plot any series data, say like if it is changing by time or year or by month, any value that is changing, mostly the time series data you will use line. But and for any kind of relation you want to see between two variables also, you can use line plot. Okay, and this looked kind of jumbled, right? So you can see it is kind of zigzag. So let's like smooth it. So you can see it has smoothened that. It's like showing the, it is using this method, noise method, and then using the formula like y is it's trying to put it like a kind of a regression equation, and it's trying to frame it as a this graph. There are different methods you can specify. Okay, so one of the method is lm, so it has changed. So the one is without this method, so you can see it is how it is. smoothen. It is using a different method of smoothing. So these are all the standard error. So if you set it to false, the standard error in the sense it will try to compare it with the samples, right? So so you can see it's kind of a straight line between these two. So let's try to plot this with a kind of regression kind of an equation. Okay. So I'm just going to do geom point on this. So I have to introduce plus because as I told you, it's kind of a chaining of functions. Then you have to use this. Okay. So it's kind of showing a linear relation between these two. Okay. Okay. So that's why it is. We'll just remove this method and let's see how it is. So it's kind of a polynomial function that is getting mapped to this points. Just like giving a color in your chart, you can just specify a color in here as well. Say like I just want a color of red for my points. Then you can just put it as red. Okay. Same would apply for the smoothing function as well. So there is something like called the three variables. Means three variables means we will use means we'll use another variable as a kind of way to differentiate this plot, right? So we will use this kind of heat map and all. We will use it for this. Okay. So right now I'm just going to use this empty cars. In this, I'm going to use this cylinder and here. Okay, instead of geom point, it is geom. It is kind of heat map. Okay, so we can see, but actually we have to specify the aesthetics in this geom tile to differentiate the plot. Okay, so I'm going to mention this miles per gallon. Okay, you can see this heat map between the cylinder and so if I take the cylinder as 6 and gear as 4, then the miles per gallon it's a little bit darker. It would be like 20. Okay, and if I take 4 cylinders and 5 gears, mileage would be miles per gallon is 30. It's like that. Okay, this is the three variable. Let's introduce the concept of scales because that is also one of the functions we'll use. Okay, say like scaling in the values. Okay, so with respect to the same, So let's take the same empty cars. Okay, and then we'll just use displacement against miles per gallon against miles per gallon, and let it be 0 point. Okay, I'll show you why we are using the scale so you can see the difference. Okay, so this one is plotted as it is. Okay, so this does not show any direct linear relationship between these two. Let's try to log these values. Okay, and then see how it is. So this one shows more linear relation between this. Okay, so that's kind of logging and seeing how the relations. This is one of the way of scaling. And another kind of way is like you can use scale x reverse. So you can see it is reversed. The plot is twisted from displacement, it is reversed. Okay, the points are reversed. So actual points are like this, it is reversed. It is. So other scaling is like we'll just take this again. Okay, so we'll just introduce the shape is equal to, as we already did. Okay, so let's run this so you can see there is a different shapes for each types of cylinder. Scale shape. So actually I'm not explaining everything in this, but you will get an idea of what I'm using it here. Okay, so the scale shape, actually rather than applying this solid thing, I'm just changing it to just without solid. You can differentiate, you can differently see this. Okay, and one more thing that I will go ahead and add one by one. Okay, so if I just mention, say I'll just copy this. Okay, so rather than by size, just going to mention the size, then scale. So I'm just giving as it is. So you can see, like, by the size of the cylinder, it is just trying to increase the shape of it. Then you can also specify the max size of the shape. Say like I'm just specifying 5. So you can see like for instance 10. So it is varying, right? So but make sure you follow appropriate sizing so that you see the difference in your plot. Okay. So let's start by customizing your plot. Say means, so the customization is to work on the x-axis, y-axis, titles, labels, all those things. We'll set it to the plot. Okay. So I'll just start with this. Okay, this displacement. It is 0 point. Okay, let it be as it is. So if we want to set a label to this, like I just want to specify the label, like for the x-axis alone I will use xlab. Okay, if it is y-axis I just use ylab or else labs. In this you can just go to x and just specify the x-axis like displacement, and then y miles. Then, we can specify the title as well. And just putting in shorthand so that we can see the difference relation between. So this actually this displacement we're able to see this in bold because I have set a default theme on the top, so that will have that settings in that themes. Maybe I think if it is required. So axis title text I have specified the size, and title I have specified the size as 16. Okay, and the legend position also I set. But if you want to override that, say like I will show you how to override the say like, so in this thinking cannot override, maybe in this actually I will show how to override this legend. So I'm just taking you an example. Okay, so theme, so I'm just specifying something like legend. Going to specify the position as right. Okay, I have to specify in double quotes. So now you see it is in right, and if I want the direction, legend direction, I want it facing down. Okay, it's not, direction should be, okay, actually I forgot. Actually it has to be either horizontal or vertical. I am going to mention it as vertical. Since it is in the top, it is in horizontal. Now you can see it as in vertical. So if you want to override the existing theme settings, whatever that has been set, you have to just make use of this theme and you can override the existing settings. Okay. So I just set the X and Y and title. Okay. And usually use this labs. I won't prefer using this X lab and Y lab separately, but sometimes sometimes it would be like if your variable itself is having proper name, then you have to use separately this say like this X lab and Y lab. Okay. So I think I've already shown you how to do this. So I'm just taking a copy of this as part of the customization. Okay, so I'll just show this here. So this is not a customization, so let it be as it is. So you can see it is mode and you can see the direction. Okay, there's the theme customization. Let's try to do a bar plot. So let's try. So use this so that we'll just understand what is there in this. So the this gear could be a factor. Okay, so let's try to do a bar plot using this gear. Okay, okay. So actually, I run this. Okay, actually, this is not. If it is factor, we have to just run this. Okay, you can see this is for each of this gear. What is the bar plot and count? Okay, so how to customize this plot so that if you have multiple, say, I'm just going to the X values gears. So you can see it is gears. Y levels count. Okay, and also I wanted to flip it so that you will get a clear view of it. Sometimes if you want to override, okay, so you can see it is 3 4 5 6, and also you can, if you want to sort this by the count also you can do it. Okay, so to reorder this, let's try this approach. I don't know whether it will work. So this is, I'm using the tidyverse way of doing it. So this is when you press Ctrl Shift and you'll get this pipe symbol. Then I'm just grouping it by this gear. So before that, I'll just mutate gear as start factor of gear. And then I'll just group by gear. So before that, I'll just run this and see what all the records it has. Okay, the notebook has been disconnected. Let's run this. Okay, I think something has happened. Let me refresh this page and come back. So this notebook has came back, but actually that's why in Kaggle I will save sometimes to avoid losing the changes that whatever I did. Okay, so let me save this because you can see all the changes that I did are gone. Okay, so whatever that I work, this one actually I have to run this. So let me split this cell and save this as a different version. So I'm just going to save it so that it won't cost me to rework all those things. So it is saving. So let me. So it has saved it. So let me. What I will do is I will just run all. So let's see what is happening. Hope it is not failing anywhere. Okay. So you can see I just grouped by. Actually, I was trying to do mutate gear as dot factor of gear and then gear. So then I group by, then I have to summarize that. Say summarize. That's like after grouping, you're just aggregating. I just want the count, so I'm just using this n is the count. It will give the count. Okay. Am I missing anything? Okay, here I just missed the pipe symbol, so that's it. So you can see the count. Now if I apply, maybe I was just trying to do this right, so it's not required here. So I'll take this. Now on top of this, I'm going to apply the chart. So once you pipe this data, whatever the formatting that you applied, you no need to mention the data source. This ggplot will automatically take. Okay. So you now know what are the variables that you are going to plot. So it is year, okay, and then count. But you need to sort this plot by this count. So I'm going to sort this by count. Let's try. Okay. Maybe I'm just missing something. Aesthetics, reorder, aesthetics, repeat display. Okay. Error stat count can only have the aesthetics. Okay, I think we have to specify this. Okay, now you see this bar is ordered based on the count because this 3 is having higher count. If you want to reverse it, you just specify the descending, or if you want to for ascending and descending, you just change the sign of it. Okay, so this is how you can reorder. There are several ways, but this is one of the ways to reorder. Okay, so just to show how this coordinate flip is going to work. So if I remove this plot, you can see it is arranged in this sort. So we do this, it is like this. Okay, this is what it is. I was trying to explain. Means that is one of the customization to the plot. So while I was doing this plot, actually I'll just take this one. I don't want to do. So means I don't want this. So just run this. So people tend to use different things because right in the top, actually I was just using theme view. You can see it is theme view. Actually, there are several themes you can use. So I'll show one by one. So I will just say theme. If I use black and white, but it is having grids in it. Okay, it's having grids in it. So it is having grids in it. Hello. So there are several themes like this. So there is one is black and white. So I will just use GG themes right there. Could be several. So I will just use dark. So you can see. So there are several ways to introduce themes in this. Okay. I hope this was helpful for you. Okay. This training was helpful because I've just shown you like how the ggplot works, how it takes data source, and how using the aesthetics you just specify the color, shape, size, and means the single variable with x and also two variables with x, y, and you can use the other variables or factor variables to specify the different shape, size, and color, and different kinds of charts using this histogram, bar chart, density, and the scatter plot. Okay, and facet grid, facet. Actually, there are another things like facet wrap is also there. Okay, Maybe actually I just shown you how to start with this ggplot so that you will explore a lot of other options as well, because in a single session it's difficult to cover everything in this session. So I thought of just give you what is ggplot, so whoever wants to understand quickly ggplot, this training would be useful for them. Maybe they can build a better chart by making use of whatever I've just shown you, and then they can add on top of it. Okay, there are several things like you can put dual axis on this, and you can do two charts on the same thing, like bar chart and a line chart on top of it. Okay, and there are several things you can do with this. Means just like adding just a geom bar. If I add, say, like, just for an example, I'm just showing because I'm in the closing. So just trying to see. Okay, actually, this is in this place is a geom line will be suitable. Okay, let's try with yes. Usually we'll use displacement. This is geom point. I think I already shown you on the top, like how we can use two different plots in Linux. So you can see the points as well as this line. So there are several ways to work on this. You can add the chain of functions to this list, and then you can do whatever customization on top of it. Okay, and hope this training was useful for you. Okay, actually, usually I won't use any of this inbuilt data sets to do a video on any of this training materials. But this time, actually, I've just gone through one of the trainings in plural site. Okay, so from that, actually, I got this kind of an idea just to showcase the what is ggplot and how it works and how you can plot the data with this. Okay, so hope this one is helpful. Thank you so much for watching.